So hello guys, this will be our first lesson in using the software ICM CFD. I'm using the version 15. Today we are not going to be doing any meshing or anything like this, but I just wanted to show around the software what the buttons actually do and just a basic introduction to this software. So again, it's called ICM CFD 15.0. It should be available in the ANSYS section. So first of all, you got these pretty basic stuff like file where you have the new project, open project, saving, and then you also got options to open geometry, save geometry, open mesh, save mesh, open blocking, save blocking, and import geometry from other CAD softwares as well. So this geometry, open geometry works for ICM CFD geometries and open mesh works for ICM CFD meshes. But this import geometry, where you can import geometries like scanned versions, STL, Nastran, and also legacy versions, more common. You can export from softwares like SolidWorks and Creo into step IGES format or any other format that you prefer. Some might be using CATIA, so CATIA versions are okay too. And you can even use a series of things called formatted point data, where you just specify the X, Y, and Z points, location of those points, and then we will go through a sample file to see how the formatting should be. And you can even import mesh from other softwares in case if you need to, which I don't think you will be needing to, but yeah. And then you got these few other buttons which you will not be using in most of the cases, because but you can use for example view to just go back into a fit screen or box zoom and stuff, but you got those options with your mouse as well. So, and there's some other stuff in the info button where you can find the surface area, the frontal area, the lens, so basically information about the geometry and mesh, which is going to come in quite handy as well. And you have this settings where you can display, where you can change the display of the program. If you want to change it to the background to black, some people like working in fluorescent backgrounds to make it more easy for their eyes. So if say for example if you wanted to change it to a black background, you can just go here and you say your background color is black and you want to fade it into top bottom gradient into a white, then just click apply and then there you have it. And I'm just going to revert it back to normal. I like white screens. Maybe it's not as normal as before, but and so these are the most important three sections which you'll be using: the geometry part, the mesh part, the blocking part, and I forgot the edit mesh part. And after using these four, you will be directly going into this button output, where you can choose the format for the solver. Most likely it will be ANSYS Fluent, which you can choose from here. Output solver ANSYS Fluent, and the command solver is ANSYS because it is a product of ANSYS. So again, coming back to the part 1 geometry, you got this option where you can just create a point, and when you click that, some options come down here on this part, where you can for example you can just like make points on screen. I'm gonna undo that. Or if you know where the points are gonna be, you can specify them let's say create one point at x1, y0 and z0, and you got that point there, and you can just use this fit window just to make it looking better. And let's say I have my another point at 10, 5, and if you zoom out using the scroll button, you can see the 2 points that we just made. And then that's the main two things you'll be using to make points. We are more interested in making curves, which is the second button here. Now that I made these 2 points, I can just go click from points, make a curve from points, and just click left click this point, and left click this point, and then middle button on the mouse, and that's a curve. Say for example, if you wanted to make an arc, you don't need to have the points as well. You can just click on the screen, left button. I'm clicking here, here, and here, and there we go. We have an arc. But let's say you wanted the arc to be more specific, then you can just go back, click screen select, and do 3 points where you want it to be, or just specify them using X, Y, Z, and make a point, make an arc through these points. You click this one first, the middle one, and the third one, and you have an arc which is specified, which goes through your specified points. You can also specify from this third option. You can specify center and the 2 points where you want it to be at. So for example, I'm clicking here, it says click the points where you want them to be, and I'm clicking here and here. Yeah, there you go. So you click 3 points, and then center and 2 points, and then you get this full circle, and you see that it specifies here how much the radius is. It's 27.22 in this particular thing. Now before I go back and before I show you the surface options, I just want to show you how to delete. So this button here, delete any entity. You can even choose delete curves if you know exactly what you're going to do. So when you click that, you get this this option here, which is going to be quite useful when you know what you're doing. So when I made this geometry, I didn't specify any parts name or anything. Here, if I write here, okay, this is my curve 2, and then I make a new arc. So there in green I have a new curve which belongs to the part curve 2, and if I click on here geometry and parts, I see now 2 parts, curve 2 and geom. So the blue ones are they belong to the geom part. So if I untick that, they disappear, and this one here, if I untick that, the green part disappears. So that's how you make sure that everything belongs to certain parts, so it will be much easier to manage that. So again, if I go to delete and I just box select everything, I can delete everything in one go, just middle click on the mouse. But I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to show you that you can use this option here, select items in a part. Right, so I'm going to click that, and it says which part, and I want to delete everything in the part geo. So I tick that, accept, and disappear. Great. We can also specify here, it's like a selection button. So I'm going to say that I don't want to delete any of my curves. I don't want to delete any of my surfaces, which is surprisingly not there, but I'm still showing you. Or I don't want to delete any of the bodies. I just want to select parts, points. And I'm going to box select everything. And you see only points are selected. Now I can just click the middle button and the points disappeared. Same thing you can do for deleting the curves as well. So if I untick points and do this again, the points will remain, but the curves will go. So that's gonna come in quite handy as well. So undo that. And there's also this option where you can say delete permanently, which will delete the curves from the memory of the program permanently. If not, they're always in the background. Even though they're not used, you can always kind of resurrect them. So let's delete all these, right? And I'm going to do a box surface now, where I'm going to say, using XYZ, that I want my first point to be Y1, X1, okay, and my second point to be Y1, Y0, X1, and my third point to be X minus 1, Y0, and fourth point to be X minus 1, Y1. And there I have my 4 points, and I'm just going to use this make a curve from points. So click this point, middle click this point, this one, middle click, repeat, and there I have a box made up of 4 curves. And even though nothing in geom is remaining, the part still remains, so you can just go there and right click, delete. So it just belongs to the part curve 2 now. Well, it doesn't have to be curve 2 all the time. You can just change the name, let's say box, and done. Great. Now let's go into let's say that let's do some other stuff. Let's say you wanted to segment this curve, like break it. So what I'll do, I'll just go back to points on screen, and I'm going to just click somewhere in the middle. It doesn't have to be exactly, but I have a point there. If I go back to delete, I'll see that this curve is not split through the point, but what I can do is just go back to the curve, create modify curve, and go this section where it says segment curve, and then I'm going to select this curve. So if I scroll down here, it says select segment by point, select your curve, and select the points. So I'm going to select this curve and select this point in one go, middle click, okay. And if I go to delete now, you'll see that it has become 2 separate curves. I'm going to undo that because I want a box surface. So now I have one curve. So the third option here, making a surface, yeah. So loads of options here. Simple surface, curve driven surface, a sweep. So everything you get in CAD is basically in here, but you want to stick to mostly you'll be using this first one here, a simple surface, which gives you the options. Do you want to make the curve from 2 to 4 curves, or from any number of curves, or from points? So usually it's best to make it from 2 to 4 curves. Then it just gives you a better surface which has higher quality. So I'm going to go to 2 to 4 curves and select these 4. Okay, I have a surface now. You can't see it properly because I have chosen the wireframe view, but if I go and select the solid view, you can see the surface is in the part. Because I didn't change the part to box, I can actually go ahead and do that. But what I'm going to do is show you another way to do that. So right click box, click add to part, and by selection, and I'm going to box select everything and middle click. So everything belongs in one part now. So this box part, which is the only part we have now. So if you go ahead and if you want to change the color, just click here and change to something much easier for the eyes. I don't know, something like and I like to work in wireframe view. So there we go. We have a box surface now. Other things you can do is also get you can segment this surface by a curve, or by an angle, or by connectivity, or by plane. There's lots of options there. You can play around and experiment. For example, if I had like I did before, if I put a point here on this curve, I'm going to untick surfaces and show you just the curves. So I have this point here, which is again going to curve two part. I'm going to undo that. So here I'm going to select box, and okay, there you go. I have a point. I'm going to say I want to split this curve into these 2 points. Sorry, these 2 parts. Now if you go to delete, I'm not going to delete, I just want to show you that it's 2 separate curves now. Okay, so I'm going to check surfaces, and I want to segment this surface, which is I've selected, and let's do that again. The black color is not coming very clear to the eyes to know what's happening, so let's go ahead and change it to something lighter. My bad. Okay, oh, this is much better. So segment surface, right? I'm going to select this surface, and I'm going to say, can you segment it by okay, I made a mistake, boohoo. I'm going to select, I'm going to make another point here, join them with a curve, and then I'm going to do the split surface by this curve. So I'm going to select the surface, middle click, select the curve, and now if I'm using delete just to show you that it's 2 separate entities now. So if I go ahead and just untick everything else except surface, you see it's 2 separate surfaces now. So again, loads of options to play around with the geometry part, and there's other options like repairing geometries, which you will be using to repair geometries which have holes, and basically unclean geometries, fix gaps and stuff. But you can also use this option here, which is transform geometry. And if I go ahead and select this surface, and I say I wanted to translate it, move it by without a copy, or with a copy, let's say, and in an explicit manner, for let's say I wanted it to move here. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, so I made a copy. I made a new surface. The thing is, I only selected the surface. I can also select this whole thing here. Just box select and click. Yeah, can you go ahead and do that? And now, just now when I did that, it only moved the surfaces because when I unticked here curves and points. So I wanted to make some mistakes as well, just to show you guys um, how to go around it. So now I'm going to select everything and click apply. Okay, there we go. We have now 4 surfaces, 3 curves in the middle, and loads of other options here in the transform geometry where you can rotate the geometry, mirror the geometry. Let's say I wanted to mirror this now. I'm going to select everything and I'm going to mirror it in my x-axis and copy it as well and click apply, and it goes to the right, sorry, to the left. If I did on the y-axis, it'll be coming straight down. So many ways to manipulate the geometry, and you can even scale it. Sometimes you will be needing to scale a lot of parts in the geometry, and here I'm not going to make a copy, but I want to scale the y factor to be 2 from the center point origin, or I can even select centroid and the program will find the center. Or I'm going to leave it at origin and just click apply, and there we go. We have now some manipulations done. Okay, uh, I'll be making another uh, another tutorial on the machine part, which is the second uh, option, second option here on meshing and blocking. So this is for mainly for unstructured meshes, and blocking is for structured meshes. And you can manipulate the mesh later, check the quality, check if it is right or wrong, and many things to do. But I want you guys to just play around the software, explore yourself, and see how it goes. All right, thanks.